Come along with me, guys, to Lowe's Garden Center as we take a look at perennials, annuals that you can plant now, trees, some beautiful hardy shrubs. We'll also take a look at the clearance items to see some of the things that you may want to take, some you may want to leave right at the store. We'll also take a look at some beautiful hanging baskets that are great to freshen up your porch, especially if you're taking a hit over the summer. This will take them right over into fall. My name is Marlene. Welcome to my home and garden channel. So let's first of all start off with our perennials, and these are some coreopsis right here, and they're absolutely gorgeous. I love them. The beauty about them is that you deadhead them and they continue to give you flowers, and they have a long blooming season because they're going to be blooming from spring right up until the fall season. You can see how much they were going for, and they overwinter, and then you basically go in and divide them out so that way it's a gift that keeps on giving. As you can see, pollinators love them. The same can be said for coneflowers. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I absolutely love coneflowers. They come in so many different colors. They're heat tolerant, drought tolerant, and I just love them. Over here we have some Veronica. This will add a little bit of variety to your garden. It's also perennial as well too. And I just love how the flower, the flower heads are shaped with that kind of a spike. Really, really pretty. And they're going to go down in the fall and come back up the following year. Over here we have some balloon flowers, similar situation again. These are also perennials, and I'm actually in growing zone 8, so these will come back for me. You have to just check to see how it matches up with your area. Over here these are some black-eyed Susan, one of the favorites of summer gardens. So gorgeous. And we'll be looking at the clearance items a little further down in the video. These ones out here weren't looking so hot, so I would leave these and take the ones that are inside. You always want to make the best choices to start out on the right footing when you're getting your plants. Over here now we have some knockout roses, and so if you want roses but you want one that is kind of a low maintenance plant, then this might be the best one for you to get. They're pretty disease resistant, pest resistant. I'm not going to say they never get it, but it's less of that, and you can see how gorgeous the bloom is. Over here these are some yellow ones. If you like yellow roses like Clarissa does, and this is a good option for you. You just take them home, put them in a larger container if you're potting them, or just put them in your flower bed, which is preferred. Over here these are some lantanas, and these are some tough little cookies, I would say. They are really good at holding up in warm weather. And you can see they have different colors over here. For me, because I'm in growing zone 8, they will actually come back. If I put them in large containers, I put them in flower beds, and they'll come back year after year. Over here these are some phlox, and I love phlox too. They're gorgeous, and these are for pretty good size, so I think it would be a really good buy. As you can see, pollinators love it. Again, you'd want to put it in large containers if you're taking them now, or put them in your flower beds, and they're going to come back year after year. You just trim them back in the fall, and then they'll come up really nice for you in the springtime. These I would not take because these are crotons, if you're not too sure what they are, and when they're looking healthy they're really good, but those are sunburns. I would not take them. These right here, these are actually annuals. They're pentas. If I'm seeing an annual in midsummer looking like that, I'm not going to take it because it's not worth your time and money, and I think the price is a little bit high too based on how they're looking over here, and that's just my opinion, and you can tell me how you feel about that. But I would not take these because they're just not looking good, and they're annuals. They're not going to come back. These, on the other hand, these are hollies, and I have hollies in my garden too. Just one though. They grow pretty large, so it's worth the price, and they have pretty berries in the winter. These are some azaleas right here, and the good thing about these is that these are encore azaleas, and what that means is that it blooms in the spring and it blooms again for you in the fall. I think when they bloom in the spring though, they're the most beautiful, but they'll give you blooms again in the fall. And this over here is cypress, and I love the texture of this plant. It can act as a little bit of a privacy fence for you, and the color is really pretty, very eye-catching. These are some boxwood over here, so if you want a little shrub, like a little edging of a shrub type, then these would be good. They're a little bit more slower growing, but they'll fill out, and you'll be surprised to see them as the years go by. These over here are coleus, one of my favorite summertime plants. And these are mostly grown for the leaves than for the flowers. They have cute little flowers too, but most times when people grow them, they're growing them because of the colors, because they come in so many different varieties. What I love them even more so is that they look the best in the late summer and early fall. And there are different types. As you can see, some of them have ruffles, larger ruffles at the end, but some prefer part sun and some prefer full sun. So you'll want to take a look at the labels to see which one it is that you're getting, so you know. These have been trimmed back and they're springing up again, but what I will say is that this plant is pretty easy to propagate, so they're not going to make it through the winter. Hard freeze will knock them out, but what you can do is just propagate them before the first hard freeze. Just snip it, maybe I'd say leave about 2 inches below the node where the leaves join onto the stem. Put them in some water, and then you can plant them out when they're rooted out back in the spring. So it's an excellent plant, and it could be the gift that keeps on giving with the right care. These over here, these are annuals. These are sun patience, so these will not make it through the first hard freeze, but they're so gorgeous, and these are in a pretty good size container, so it's good to get these down, repot them, because we still want to have a beautiful garden. We have quite a few more weeks to go before we get into the fall season, depending on when you're watching this, of course, so we'll still want to color it up. These are on my front porch right now, this color that I have for sun patience, and I think it's my favorite. You can tell me what's your favorite sun patient flower. If you like this color, you prefer the red ones, the white ones, there's so many of them. This over here is a celosia, and it's called dragon's breath, and I'm sure you can see why, because if you look at it, you can see that it just looks like fire-breathing dragon coming out. These are some chrysandras, and it's just in recent years that I found out the name for this plant, because I used to see them even growing up, but I didn't know what they were. They do prefer part shade now, which is great, because if the weather is warm where you are, then they'll survive in the shade. These are some fan flower. Personally, I prefer the lavender color ones, but if you want the white ones, you could get those. Over here now they have some more of the dragon, the dragon's breath, and I think these are great for late summer into fall because of the colorations. They can start to, if you wanted to get a jump start on your fall, you can even start putting colors like these out and just take it right up into the seasons for as far as they can go. But remember now that those are annuals. These over here, these are Vincas, and this is a little tough cookie because they hold up so well. More sun patience right here, and I think these are so gorgeous, and hummingbirds love them and butterflies love them too. Over here now we have some more Vinca, but I had never seen this variety before. They are so tiny and so cute. Just look at them, guys, how small they are next to my hand. Love some Vinca because they're just so drought tolerant and beautiful, and I did this recent video that tells you how to care for them, so I'll link it either in the description box for you or at the end of the video. These over here, I'm not too familiar with them. They remind me of wishbone flower, but they call this Persian violet, but it looks like a pretty nice one to put to just fill out a container. These are curcumin right here, and these are tender perennials, so depending on where you are, you kind of have to watch it. You may need to take up the roots and overwinter them. Now we're moving on to the beautiful hanging baskets, and boy, aren't these gorgeous. These are verbena. In some areas they actually come back for you every year. They do in my growing zone if it's in something that's large enough. This one as well too, calabraca, it also does that as well too. But again, they have to be in large containers or in flower beds. They can always take them out and put them off to the side somewhere where they'll come up the following year, because that's what I did and that's how I found out. Over here now, these are some asparagus ferns, and I think these look beautiful both inside the house and outside, but you'll need to bring them indoors because they will not be able to survive the first hard freeze. These are some wonderful myrtle plants right here. And for these, what I will say is that it's a good investment because you buy them and they're going to last for many years. That's how small we bought ours, and now it's about 12 feet tall, and we cut it back every year. Of course, you can buy larger ones as well too if you would like to. You can see, of course, if they're larger, you have to pay more. And just to show you also that you can get the darker foliage, like darker leaves, depending on the variety that you want. And here is a summer favorite, guys. Limelight hydrangea. They are so gorgeous, and this one is the little lime, so if you didn't have like a large area for them to be at, you can still get limelight hydrangea, just get smaller ones. And in this video recently I showed you how to get the maximum amount of blooms from them every year, and I'll link it at the end for you. Over here we have some Laura petalum, and this plant, it is just so gorgeous in the springtime, and you enjoy the leaves right throughout the year, and then when those flowers come on, they give you quite a show. And I did a video back in the spring about this as well too. This is another nice one again here too. Not as much flowers showing right now, but it is beautiful. And you can put it maybe like, in a little area by itself, and when it blooms out, it looks so nice. You can see how much it's going for right there. And I just wanted to take a moment to invite you to subscribe to my channel if you have never done so before. I do lots of gardening topics, tips and tours. We have a great community here where we exchange ideas, we help each other out, and we share the best tips. So be sure to join us. So over here now, this is the clearance section showing you how they're pricing them. If it's like for $2, you pay $1. $5 you pay $2, and so on. It can look a little rough in this area though, so you have to kind of like proceed with caution. Like this Vinca, it looks a little tired to me, so I would not take it. I would take this one down here because it has a lot of life left in it. Looks nice and fresh, so I would go for that one. Over here, this for me, Calabraca, this actually, it comes back because it did. I put it in a little spot in the floor, but then it came back, and I thought they said it's an annual, but it came back. So guys, you just never know. You can give it a try. This is geranium right here. And these are, they can be tender perennials depending on where you are. If if you're in a cold zone, you may want to skip on those, or you'll have to overwinter them indoors. These I would definitely skip on because these are petunias. They're annuals pretty much everywhere that I know except in a tropical area, and they're not looking too good. They're just kind of like very leggy, and there's not a lot left in them, so I would probably leave those. This is hibiscus right here, but it is not the hardy variety, so if you're not going to be able to overwinter this somewhere like indoors with a good light source, then you may want to leave that one as well. Over here now we have more lantana again, and just like I was saying before, you'll want to put these in larger containers if you want them to come back, or you can put them in a flower bed depending on where you are if it gets really cold over there. But they're just so wonderful. They're drought tolerant, and they have a long season of bloom as well. And of course you have many different colors for them. And they had these hanging baskets over here. They had the white petunias, they had the blue lobelia, and they also had some it's mostly verbena that's in there right now though, but they need to be trimmed back a little bit so they can bloom again, and they most likely will come back if your growing zone is mild enough. This over here, this is a perennial salvia, and this one definitely does come back. This is a great investment, I would think, because as you can see these from my garden, this was maybe like about 3 years ago. Right now mine is about 4 feet across. It is so large. I really will have to divide that this fall. I can't skip it again, so I'm gonna have to get on top of that. But they're just so beautiful, guys. Hummingbirds love them, bees love them, so I would say if you see these, definitely get them, and they will make it. Over here, these are some more Vincas. These ones right here, they're not looking too bad, so I'd get them and just put, like multiple ones, just bunch them together just for the season. And they do self-seed, so you'll find seeds on there. The little seed pods are tiny, and the little black seeds are in there, so you can plant those, or sometimes they'll just self-seed anyway to give you more the following year. So there's lots of life left there, so I definitely would try with that one. Over here now, guys, these are some tropicals that they had. Of course, these will have to be taken indoors, and I just love them. Can you tell? So much so I forgot to look for the price to tell you what it was. I'm sorry. And over here, these are some more tropicals as well too. This is Bird of Paradise, and these are, you can see how much they were going for. And these, again, they're tender. You'll have to bring them indoors, otherwise they will not make it outdoors. Same is true for the ginger here as well. Again, unless you're in a more tropical area, then these will just keep coming back. What you can do with these is you can take up the roots, when they kind of died on a little bit in the fall, and you can overwinter the roots, with some peat moss, depending on what you prefer, or sawdust, and then you can plant them out again, and they'll come back the following year. But I think they're really just very unusual, so definitely something you want to consider if you're able to, handle the care that they will need. And they give you instructions on there too that tells you how far apart to plant them if you're planting them in a flower bed, how deep to plant them. And also this shows you what it looks like when there are more flowers on there, and you can see it's for $24.98. So you have to decide if it's going to be worth your time and the effort to put into that. These are some ginger right here, and I'm thinking that these are grown a lot for the leaves and not just for the flowers that they bloom. Now over here, since we're in the warmer months, we'll take a look at the succulents, and these are great. You can maybe put them maybe like on a patio or a porch. They don't like too much sun. They can't handle heat, but some of them will get burned by the sun, so you have to kind of do a little research on them, look at the tags and see what it says to decide. And it can even be maybe like for a little home office or something like that. Over here they're showing you like these bromeliads. you know, and I even thought that this one, I said, is that real because it looks so flat? But it actually was. So I said, okay, that's very unusual, but they're showing you can maybe like even do like a plant wall if you like inside your home, and these will look so good on there. This is staghorn fern. It can be a little bit, you know, a little bit of an upkeep to this one. So if you're a beginner, you know, you may steer from this one. If you're willing for the challenge, and definitely go for it. And you can see how gorgeous these plants are, guys. You know, this is not a sponsored video. I just wanted to show you, you know, what they had. You can decide if you wanted to freshen up your patio or your porch. But I just want you to always enjoy the gardening journey, you know, and continue to share my videos with those that love flowers, that love to grow their own fruits and veggies, and enjoy the growing season, you know, what's left of it, you know, just maximize it. Thanks so much for watching. Do hope to see you in my next video. Take care.